Hi there, welcome to this section of Beauty for Ashes, where we're talking about can God help me? And finding faith in a time of crisis, that's our strapline. And it's likely that you are here because you need help. And maybe some of the help that you've explored hasn't really done much for you, and you want a bigger answer. We're again doing this, much of this, beginning of this in the time of coronavirus, and these questions have become more relevant because our lives have suddenly absolutely changed for many of us in the space of about a week, and it's brought a lot of insecurity and unsafety, and so people are asking bigger questions. So can God help us? I talked in the previous video about God caring, being a God of love. But what is really important is how can I connect to this help and to this power of love and make that real for me. Now, Jesus, when he was on earth, really got that when he started talking about a realm you can't see, it's not easy for us to grasp. And so what he did is he constantly went and took different images and pictures, and he said, the unseen world is like this, God is like this. And so he unpacked it by starting with something they understood. And I've discovered as I've become a Christian that all over this earth there are kind of micro models about truths that are much, much larger. Now, Jesus called himself the door, he called himself the shepherd, he talked about being a well of life. These are all images that instantly would have connected with people of his day, but not necessarily in the same way to us. So if he was here in the 21st century, he would use images that we really get. And I think he would have come out with phrases like, I am the passcode, I am the telephone number, I am the PIN number. All of those are things that personally give us access to something that other people necessarily don't understand is there. And when I became a Christian, though I didn't know it, I was praying with people that understood that Jesus was the passcode to accessing this new spiritual realm of love. And I knew nothing about it, except that I knew that that passcode had worked, because in that prayer, as I began to say, Jesus, if you're there, God, if you're there, will you help me? They were praying in Jesus' name. I was opening up my heart. And the passcode, if you like, in that prayer worked. And suddenly I was connected. Now, I knew absolutely nothing really about the realm that I was connected to. I just knew it had happened. I say something arrived. I now know it was somebody. But I knew that connection had happened. And from that day on, that connection has been the channel whereby the help and the love and the guidance and the presence of God has made itself known. So it is a 101, really, of getting the help from God. So Jesus is your passcode. And I've watched a lot of people really kind of try and find out what's going on in the spiritual realm. And I think you could say that a man's kind of quest for God is really sitting at a computer, having heard that there's a wonderful thing you can download that changes your life. And I think many of us are just trying to figure out what the passcode is. Well, for Christians, you don't need to do that anymore. For Christians, we know what the passcode is, and it is Jesus. It is what Jesus did on the cross, and as we actually open ourselves to that, we are connected to the spiritual realm. We do suddenly find that God is there. Now, for some people, that is such an impact. They know it instantly, like me. John shares in one of these videos that the thing that most impacted him when he was praying, he wasn't aware of until later. He literally thought nothing had happened. But his life was completely changed because God took away the craving that made him an alcoholic. And so there's different ways in which that happens. But if we are going to access something, we have to know the access code. So that's the first tip I'm going to give you if you want to know that God can help you, is that the reason Jesus came to earth is he became our passcode to the love and the help and the presence of God. There'll be people that can tell you exactly why that happened if I've got time. At some point, I might go into that more deeply. But I think people that need help are in crisis. They really just want to know how to get there, not necessarily all of the ways in which that was made possible. If you're really starving hungry, you just want some food. If you're not starving hungry, you might find nutrition and diet and different sorts of food very, very interesting. If you're starving, that all becomes somewhat irrelevant. You just need to eat. And for people in crisis, often that's what it's all about. Certainly it was for me. I didn't care in the end about all this stuff that seemed really important. I just needed help and I wanted to access it. And I'm here. And I have to say, I've done this now for over 4 decades, to say that help arrived and has been arriving ever since. I really pray and hope that you access that help as well. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.